Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your
hosts,
Mike.
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So once again, I had a conversation with Alyssa about, in the morning time, it was about socialism and communism. Can you believe it at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday?
Lucky you.
Yeah, it was weird because she and lots of kids her age have this impression that communism and socialism are the exact same thing.
I wonder where they got that idea from. Cough, cough, media cough.
Yeah, and they're not the same thing. I mean, communism is more of a political construct, like a way of governing. And it tends to control the production and the consumption, while socialism only controls the production. Is that correct, or do I have that backwards?
I think you're close. I didn't look it up, so, that was your job.
And I did, so let me see what it said. The point is that they're not the same, no matter how you look at it. They're not the same, yet the kids today are making them one and the same.
Not kids. Everyone.
Well, we're part of everyone, and I don't do that. Just saying. It says, under communism, there's no such thing as private property. All property is communally owned, and each person receives a portion based on what they need. Strong central government, the state controls all aspects of economic production and provides citizens with their basic necessities, including food, housing, medical care,
Hold on a
and
second.
education.
The difference? Socialism is an economic system. Communism is a political system.
Yes, but one of them controls production and consumption of goods, while the other only controls the production of goods.
You essentially can't have communism without socialism, but you can have socialism without communism.
Yeah, it says it's a less.
So everybody should shut up.
So they're not the same. And they bring it up because, of course, people start talking about Bernie Sanders, and then he's a socialist, and he agrees that he's a socialist. He's actually registered as a democratic socialist. He's registered to that party.
So maybe everybody should stop calling him a communist because they're too stupid to read or remember their history classes.
But that's what I'm getting at. They think that communism is the same thing as socialism. And then when you explain to them, well, no, communism is a political, ideology, and socialism is an economic ideology, they go, yeah, like I said, they're the same. You just go, that's like saying, this is a fruit and that's a vegetable. Yeah, that's why they're exactly the same.
Do you know why this is happening? Warning labels.
You mean like on shampoo, wash, rinse, repeat?
No, I don't mean like in shampoo. I mean like on a coffee lid. Caution, may be hot. Just let the idiots spill it all over themselves, get third-degree burns, then get an infection, then die.
What does that have to do with people not understanding the difference between socialism and communism?
Because people who are too stupid to understand the difference between socialism and communism, or too stupid to bother to go look it up, are the same people who are being saved by all of these stupid warning labels.
You're assuming that they're stupid because they think they're the same. Got it. I'm not necessarily assuming that, because some of the people that have said it to me, I know to be very smart. So I'm not assuming the same thing as you are, but that's fine. Now I get where you're coming from. when you say that they're stupid, because
very
your
smart.
assumption is that they're not very smart if they believe this.
If
So
they're
I
very
get it.
smart, then they're also very lazy.
Maybe, but that's interesting just to see the difference between how you think about it and how I think about it.
Full.
They're quite different. But it's just interesting to see, because you got Bernie Sanders coming out. He's a socialist kind of dude, and he wants to give everything away for free. He wants to, I'm trying to discuss from the time Alyssa got in the car to the time right by the school where you stop at the light sometimes, the elementary school across from her mom's house. She tried to explain to me why raising $15 an hour as the minimum wage across the entire country is a bad idea. And never once actually got to the point, because she doesn't really understand the factors beyond the $15 an hour aspect.
Well, okay, do schools here not teach basic economy?
Economics is an optional college level course.
Why?
It just is.
Why is the system of education in this country letting people become adults who deal with money and participate in the economy without knowing how the fucking economy works?
Well, yeah, it's why we're going in the tanker.
Okay, I take it back. It's not the warning label's fault anymore.
No. It's the education system, which, by the way, is why the federal government shouldn't be in control of the education system.
So, when I was in school, not in this country, because, education other places is a little bit better.
Right.
We took social studies, not history, and social studies covered all of the aspects of history and covered economics. So when you learn about Russia, you learn about Marxism, which means you learn about communism. And you also learn about socialism. And when you study the US, you learn about capitalism and democratic republics. When you study Canada, you learn about democracies. Seriously. How is it so much?
But that's taught. Okay, now you're confusing the issue. All of that is taught in history class.
You just said no part of economics is required in college.
What I said was economics is an optional course at the college level. Economics.
Which is saying that it's not taught in high school.
The systems that you're talking about are taught in history class, both in 9th grade and in 10th grade.
Okay, well, that's not what you said 2 minutes ago, so never mind. Forget everything I just said.
But the education system still is at fault for this. It really is. And what I try to figure out is why the one agenda seems to fit Democrats so well. And yet and then that also turns them into the majority. Why do the majority of people see things that way? What is so enticing about free college and everything paid for and a much, much higher wage, that you're going to use the term living wage so that anyone dares disagree with you is, quote, against a living wage? No, I didn't agree that what you defined a living wage is a living wage. I didn't agree to that. Did we have the discussion? Is minimum wage actually considered a living wage, or is it supposed to be a living wage? Did we ever have that discussion? No.
It's not supposed to be a living wage.
It's not. It's for entry-level workers. It's kind of like the situation with credit. If you're 18 years old and you're coming out into the world, that's something suddenly you have a credit report. But your credit score starts at 575. And now granted, in days of old, like when I was younger, that's not a horrible credit score, because the highest you could get was 700. Now the highest you can get is over 800.
Isn't it 850?
Yeah. So 575 is just meh, but they've never changed it to update it.
Is it exactly in the middle of 300 and 850? 575?
No, because 550 would be the difference between 850 and 300, and half of 550 would be 275. So no, it's not. Good thinking though. But
that math you just did was awful.
No, it wasn't. It was spot on. 250 and 250 is 500 plus another 25 times 2 is 50.
It is exactly in the middle. 575 between 850 and 300.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
If you start at 0, it is.
You have to. No, it's not.
Starting
Stop
at 0.
For a second. The difference between 850 and 300 is 275. You just said this yourself.
No, the difference between 850 and 300. Oh, the half is 275. Yes.
The half is 275. 275 plus 300 is 575. It's exactly in the middle.
All right, fair enough. But
that's insane. I wanted to know why I arbitrarily started at 575.
But okay, but then that's saying that a C, which is the great dead center in the middle, right? That a C is not good. That it's actually bad. And a C, everyone thinks of a C as average.
Well,
and they're clearly treating it as average because they're giving every new credit report a starting point of 575.
I think it's very fair that they started right in the middle.
But okay, but what I'm getting at is,
I know what you're getting
with the credit reporting system, you have no way of getting started. You have to pay for yourself to get started with like a secured credit card or whatever. Otherwise, you have no way of getting started. No one's going to issue you credit when your credit is at 575.
Somebody did with me.
Only super high interest card.
But it gets you started. And if you never let it
costs you, which is what I was saying. You don't have to pay for that. You shouldn't have to pay.
But it doesn't
get started.
Because if you pay your bill on time, you never pay any interest.
Let's face it, the majority of people don't pay the bill on time.
Well, then that's their fault.
But then they end up paying for it, which is exactly what I'm talking about.
But you
I think the other way,
for it.
I think the other way,
it's possible,
of just allowing them to get a start and judging them from their actual actions is a lot more efficient. It's like here when we wanted to move from one apartment to another. Seriously, why did you need to credit check us at all?
Right.
I mean, have we ever been served an eviction notice? No. Have we ever paid our rent late? No. Have we ever missed a month paying our rent? No. So why did you need a credit check after 4 years of that? And I mean, I'm not talking 2 or 3 months of that. I'm talking 4.5 years of that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's the thing. I understand the argument, oh, well, it doesn't always mean. You're right. If I've been here 3, 6, 9, 11, 12 months, yeah, it's too short of a period. But 4.5 years? Half a fucking decade? Please.
I like that you have to get a credit check to apply to live somewhere. And that somewhere that you're living doesn't report back to your credit. That seems stupid. If you're going to credit check me in order for me to qualify for this apartment, then you need to be reporting my payments to this apartment to the credit bureau.
Yeah.
It's the same thing for utilities. It's bullshit that they don't report it.
Which would have improved our credit so much.
You know what's crazy? You pay T-Mobile every single month and it doesn't report on your credit. But in Canada, your cell phone bill does report to your credit. TELUS Mobility is one of the things sitting on Canadian credit report.
I have to put that into my agenda to look into that Boost program. Because I know it's free, and you can pick what bills.
I accidentally signed up for it, and now they email me 100 times a day. So prepare yourself. And I don't pay any bills.
What was it you were wanting to talk about? So it's interesting, though, because now they're saying that the super delegates for the Democrats, they don't want Bernie to win.
Okay.
And so if he doesn't have a majority of the delegates by the convention, it's going to be a brokered convention. Meaning there's going to be all these behind the scenes wheeling and dealing. And some people speculate that the pariah will rear her ugly head once again. Hillary Clinton will win the nomination and it'll be Trump and Clinton part 2.
Does she really want to be embarrassed like that again?
And you know what I say is bad about that? She probably beats him this time around, and you know him. He's got an ego the size of fucking universe. He'll run against her again. So we'll end up having Trump and Clinton number 3. No, thank you. I don't want that. Talk about mired in bullshit for years. So anyway, you got anything to add to any of this discussion since you didn't really say much of anything today?
I said plenty of things, so you can can it.
I don't want to can it. I don't like canning things.
Good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye, Parker.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.